Hi, my name is Bente, I'm the Norse Witch, and service announcement, we have another new moon coming up. This time it's a new moon in Capricorn, and also it's kind of around the New Year's time, which is very, very perfect. But before we get into that, I have a quick little announcement to make. And that is that my Patreon is relaunching. If you have been following me for some time, you probably already know that I kind of set my Patreon on ice. I didn't really post anything on there since July, I think it's still this year, July 23. Because I didn't really have a clear plan for my Patreon, so I just constantly thought, I need to post something, I need to post something, I need to post something. And that very quickly sent me spiraling into a burnout, so I had to take a step back. So the only thing that I really posted since July was early access, and that was about it. But I really wanted to get it back on progress, get it back rolling. And that is what I will do starting January 1st. I thought around New Year's that's the perfect time to relaunch my Patreon. So let me quickly tell you my tiers and what you will get with these tiers. So first of all, I will always have the €1 tier for people who just want to support me, who don't really care about the things that you get with the tiers. So I will always have a €1 tier. By the way, you can also subscribe annually instead of monthly, and I think you save 10%, I think, if you subscribe annually, so even cheaper. So of course I have this only support €1 tier. That's about it. I also have a €3 and a €5 tier. I wanted to keep it rather cheap. So the €3 tier has, for example, the Discord access, which I feel like is the most important part for most people. On the Discord, we also do things like book club and rune journeys. So I really like my little Discord server. It's a private one, so you only get access with the €3 tier and up, and it doesn't have a public access, so it's a very nice little safe space. That one comes with the €3 tier. Also a Q&A priority, so whenever I post a Q&A, of course I can't answer all of your questions because there are too many, but I make sure that I'm always answering my Patreon's questions, always. So that is one of the things that you will get with the €3 tier. Also early video access. Of course, all of my videos are usually uploaded 2 to 4 weeks before I actually post them. So you will get an early video access, very early video access. Also, once a month, I'm planning on asking all of my €3 tier and up patrons what they want to see on my channel. And from those suggestions, I will make a poll, and I will make the video that wins the poll. So if you want to have power over what I post on my YouTube channel, then you should subscribe to my Patreon, because then you have actual power over what I will post. Probably the most exciting one, I feel like, is previously I basically posted these videos, so my new moon and full moon videos, in text form on my Patreon. That was one of the things that I posted there. But now, of course, since I'm making them publicly on YouTube, that won't be included in the Patreon anymore. But I still wanted to make something for the full and new moons, so I decided that I will create a rune spread for you for every single new/dark moon. So every single month I will create a rune spread that you can do at home with the new/dark moon energy of that month. So for example, if it's like now, a Capricorn new moon, I will create a rune spread that makes sense with a Capricorn new moon. Then we have the €5 tier, which of course has all of the things from the €3 tier, but also a patron shout out, which of course I'm doing on every single end of the video. I also, of course, wanted to do something for the full moons. So I will create a spell or ritual for that month's full moon. So if you're subscribed to the €5 tier, you not only get a rune spread for that month's new moon, you also get a spell or ritual for that month's full moon. So you guys basically get an entire package for that month. I'm pretty excited about that, and the spell or ritual could be anything. I mean, it could be, for example, a money spell for a Taurus full moon. It could be a guided meditation even for a Sagittarius full moon. It could be a self-love spell for a Leo full moon. It could be some kind of ritual also. It doesn't necessarily need to be a spell, but it could be a guided meditation, a spell, a ritual, something like that. And you get a full-on sheet that explains everything step for step. So if you are a beginner, I will make sure that these spell or ritual descriptions are thorough so that even also beginners can do them. I'm pretty excited about that. Everything will always be posted at the beginning of the month, at the first. I will maybe also post some stuff from time to time that isn't necessarily on this kind of schedule, but I don't want to put myself under pressure with that, so that is why I settled with cheaper tiers. And if I am in the mood for posting anything else, any cat photos, I know you love cat photos, or like behind the scenes stuff or anything like that, I will, but it's not on the schedule. That being said, let's look at a Capricorn new moon. First of all, as always, when is this new moon? In Central European time, it's on January 11th at 12:57 p.m. In Eastern time, it's on January 11th, 6:57 a.m. And in Pacific time, it's on January 11th at 3:57 a.m. But what is Capricorn about? Alright, Capricorn is kind of an exciting sign, even though I don't relate to it at all. But Capricorn is a cardinal earth sign ruled by Saturn. And if you've seen these videos, you probably already know what cardinal signs are about. Cardinal signs are the initiators. Cardinal signs are the ones who start projects. They have new ideas, new projects in mind, start new things. But cardinal signs don't necessarily pull through with those projects. So they might have great new ideas and start a lot of new projects, but not necessarily pull through with them or bring them to fruition. If you look at an Aries, for example, Aries is also a cardinal sign. They start a lot of new things. They get passionate very quickly about a lot of new things, but they don't necessarily pull through with them or finish them. But Capricorn is a cardinal earth sign. And if you know what the element earth is about, earth is very much unchangeable. It keeps things the way they are. It's not very changeable. It doesn't necessarily need new things, new ideas, new projects. But it is very good at keeping things going the way they are. So you have a combination of these two. You have a sign that one is able to initiate new things and likes to create new projects, but also keep these projects going and bring them to fruition. And that is why if you would look at like a pure Capricorn, they are extremely hard workers. They usually have some kind of project going, and they will make sure that they will finish that. Finishing their projects, bringing them to fruition, finishing them up is like the most important thing for a Capricorn. They are very, very, very success-oriented. That's why they're hard workers, and sometimes they are even workaholics. They are also extremely determined and headstrong, so they will make sure that they get what they want. Capricorns are also planners. They don't necessarily live in the moment, but they are very good at planning ahead. So if you know a person that's very, very Capricorn heavy, they probably have like a 5 or 10-year plan. They definitely know where they want to get to, what they want to achieve within the next 5 or 10 or even 20 years, where they want their projects to go. A lot of them are business owners and are probably very good at that. Something that I very, very admire about Capricorns is also that they are fearless. I am such an anxious person, but Capricorns are fearless. They just do things. And they know that they can get them to fruition, and they know that they can do shit. So they just do. I love that. They're also extremely blunt, so they will definitely tell you their side of the story into your face if you want to hear it or not. But they're also not very emotional, not very empathetic. And I don't mean that they don't have emotion. What I mean by that is the Saturn energy makes sure that they're very self-protective, and they don't necessarily show you all of them initially. You kind of have to gain their trust before they will open up to you and show their emotions to you. That's why Capricorns are also usually not the friend that you would go to if you want to cry on someone's shoulder, or if you want someone to pity you or say, look, oh, you poor little thing. That's not something that you would approach a Capricorn friend with. Go to a water sign for that. If you need an action plan though, if you need a solution to your problem, then you would go to your Capricorn friend. But that being said about Capricorn, very, very fun sign. How does that relate to a new moon? If you have seen this video, new moons / dark moons are very much about preparation, planning, starting new things. Of course, a new moon is also a start to new things, but a dark moon is more so for like divination and shadow work and looking into the darker aspects of your life. And if you have listened to what I said about Capricorns, they are planners and they are initiators. So the Capricorn energy goes very well with a new moon, especially if it's like it is now, kind of around New Year's time. I mean, yeah, it's January 11th, but still kind of around New Year's. People are still kind of trying to stick to their New Year's resolutions. So, of course, if you want New Year's resolutions and you haven't done that around New Year's, do that on this new moon. Especially if those New Year's resolutions are about projects that you actually want to keep going for years and years. As I said, Capricorns are planners. So definitely dive into this planning energy, especially if it's about a business, for example, or something else where you could achieve something big. That would be perfect. Of course, it's also a great time to start those new projects. If you have wanted to start a business, a new moon in Capricorn is basically the prime time to start a new business, just saying. But also if you want a smaller project, maybe something that's a little bit challenging, but any kind of new project that you want to start and you want to make sure that you're pulling through with it, start it on the new moon in Capricorn. This is the perfect time for that. If you already have projects going, then of course you can also plan on how you can keep them going and how you can bring them to fruition. Especially if you're being challenged a little bit at the moment, if your projects aren't really working or going the way you want them to, then maybe look into that. You can also dive into the dark moon energy and do divination on that. Something that I would also advise you on is, for example, if you want to get a head start on a project, then maybe cast a spell for that on this new moon. So for example, cast a success spell for a new business or something, and also plan ahead on any magical workings that you would want to cast for this new project or this already running project. So look at, for example, the next year. What kinds of full and new moons are when, and how can you use these to do any kinds of magical workings for this project. Of course, you can also start more general, longer working spells. For example, I really like to work with Capricorn energy for financial gain and success. So if you don't necessarily have a project where you need that for, but in general, you could use some success or some money, then maybe start some longer working financial or success workings. That could be a possibility that is not necessarily business or project related. And as I said, you can of course also use the dark moon energy to do some divination or shadow work on some things. So for example, if you want to do divination, maybe do some divination on how you could bring your projects to fruition, why you're maybe struggling with them, how you get more financially successful, stuff like that. If you want to do shadow work, then of course you can look into things like, why am I bad at setting boundaries with people? So look more maybe into the Saturn energy of Capricorn. Or you could look at, why am I struggling with finances? A lot of people have blockages and like trauma around finances. So you could look into that if you want to do that. Or you could also look at, why am I standing in my own way to success? Because a lot of people also do that. I know it myself. You can do shadow work around anything like that. And then something that I really like to work with Capricorn for is protection, boundaries, banishings. Capricorn, as I said, is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is very good at setting boundaries, protecting themselves and their loved ones. So that is of course a very, very good time to renew any wards around your house, around yourself, maybe make some new protection talismans for yourself or for your loved ones. You can also, for example, as I said, do some divination or shadow work around setting boundaries. And if you want to do that, maybe use the dark moon energy and do some banishings. If you need to kick some people out of your life or get rid of some specific spirit that's hanging around that you don't want hanging around or anything like that, you can dive into the dark moon in Capricorn energy and banish those, because you don't necessarily want them to hang around also in the new moon cycle. And that being said, those were my ideas for a Capricorn new moon. I feel like it is a new moon for so many cool things to do. As always, feel free to tell me about your plans and your ideas in the comment section. And also, as always, patron shout out. Thank you so much for your support. SJ, Natasha, Anne, Kate, Thistle, Adam, Z, Kent, Brittany, Emersaline, Small Kata, Josh, Elinura, David, Kristany, Rixie Business, Annalena, Ashley, John, Phoenix, Jenny, Maggie, Misty, Amy, Bethany, Timothy, Coffee, or the honorary gossip squirrel, and last but not least, Bjorn. Again, thank you so much for your support. It really means a lot to me, especially because I didn't post anything since July, basically. So the fact that you stuck around, especially in this upper tier, means so much to me. Of course, as always, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to subscribe and give a thumbs up and ring the bell down below so you're notified whenever I upload a new video. Of course, you can also check out my other socials or my shop for ethically and sustainably sourced witchcraft and paganism tools. And definitely subscribe to my new Patreon. I'm insanely excited about that. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!